Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Clear Path Leadercast. We come to you live every Thursday at noon Eastern to share with you 3 topics that are going to help you become the leader you aspire to be in 2022. My name is Craig Anderson. I'm the president of Clear Path Coaching and Consulting. I have 30 years experience in corporate America, 5 years experience growing a small business as part of a larger corporation, really focused on how I had to grow as a leader. Or really, my results really came from me growing as a leader over those times that I was in those roles. And that's really what I wanted to do. Is I was struggling so much as I developed my leadership persona and my leadership style. And I entered into coaching to help other leaders really get themselves ahead faster, because you know what? The answers are there. Sometimes they're just hard to see. And so many times the problems that we think are new are just new to you. So that's what we do here at Clear Path Coaching and Consulting, is help you overcome those challenges of leadership so that you can move more comfortably into the role, quit second guessing yourself, and really getting past imposter syndrome and really entering into your confident leadership style. So today, what I want to talk about is some of the things that will help you solve those problems, which is about your mindset as a leader as we go into 2022. There's a whole lot of things that hit us as a leader. We're asked to make decisions. People are looking to us to set the tone. They're looking to us to help to know how to react to the circumstances that have us. And let's face it, our people are tired after the last couple of years, so much whipsawing, so many things changing all the time. And they're going to take their cues from us as the leader. And when we have our mindset right and focused, we can help them feel more comfortable and confident. And so let's talk about some of those things that I think we want to get into our mindset this year. As always, we're going to talk about 3 topics that will help you grow as a leader. If you have questions or comments as we go through, drop a comment into the stream. If you're watching us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, we'll see those comments and answer them and give feedback to you. If you're catching this on the replay, drop a hashtag replay, leave your comment, and I will answer that as well. Come back in and answer that. So let's talk about the 3 areas. The 3 areas I want to talk about today is the importance for your mindset of flexibility, the importance of taking the win, and keeping focused on how to get refocused. So let's dive into that first one, which is the importance of flexibility. We can't predict the future. I mean, I'm not talking 10 years out. I'm talking about 10 weeks out, 10 months out. We can't think about every contingency that's going to happen. We don't know what changes are going to happen in the market. We don't know what changes are going to happen in health, where sickness is going to come from, new competitors, so many things that are moving and shaking. We want to try and have an awareness of all these things. We want to try and see into the future. That's our job as leaders, is to be thinking about 18 months into the future. But sometimes we're going to be wrong. Sometimes things are going to happen that we don't see coming. So what do we need to do? Well, here's the thing is, one, we got to have a plan. We always want to have a plan. And we can always talk about the business planning products that I use to help my clients grow their business with the one-page business plan. And we want to have a plan because even though the future can be uncertain, we want to know where we think we're going. So when variations happen, when things knock us off our plan, we have something to say, all right, we're this far off, we're this far off here, we're this far off here, here's where we're a little closer. So we know what the impact's going to be based on the assumptions that we've made. But the importance here is to have a flexible mindset about the future. When you run into something you didn't expect, going into a panic's not going to do you any good. You know, there's an old episode of Lost, if you remember the show Lost, where somebody talked about something unexpected happening in a surgery that he was doing. And he said, I gave myself to the count of 5. I gave myself to the count of 5 to panic. And then after that, I just focused on getting the job done. And that's what, it's okay to have a little bit of a panic, but don't let it carry on. Have your moment and then move on. Be flexible. Figure out how to adjust. Realize that you have to adjust and that you don't have to do all that adjusting on your own. Pull your team together. Start thinking through scenarios, realizing how far it's going to move you off from where you're going to go. So that importance of flexibility is going to help us maintain a positive mindset as we go through difficult times. And there are always going to be difficult times, even in the best of times with great growth and great employee, low turnover, high customer acquisition. There are always going to be challenges. So when we have a flexible mindset, it's going to help us adjust and get moved into that so that we don't get thrown off course. We don't get sent into a tailspin. Give yourself that count of 5 when you run into problems and when things unexpected happen. But stay focused on the future, stay focused on where you want to go, and then be flexible. Hey, look, we may plan a trip from where I'm in Indianapolis down to Florida. And we know, and we have faith that we're going to get down to where we want to be in Florida. But we can't see the accidents that are going to fall in our way, the road construction that may pop up that was unexpected. And there's going to be detours, and there's going to be workarounds. There's going to be long lines of cars we may have to wait through. And we might not always move at the pace we hope to, but we can't lose faith that we know where we're going, and that we're going to achieve our destination. So that's really important for you to consider. So flexibility is the key, number one, towards a great mindset in 2022. Let's move on to the next one. Is one of the things that helps a lot with mindset is realizing that we have had successes. But sometimes we are moving so fast and we're so focused on that next mountain and that next hill we want to climb that we don't look behind and see all the mountains we've already climbed. So it's important to celebrate the win. Take the win. When you get those wins, those achievements, those notable milestones are knocked down in a project, or you sign that new client, take time to celebrate that win with your team. Maybe it's your personal win, maybe it's someone on the team's win, but acknowledge it, celebrate it, enjoy that moment. I just talked about before the 5 seconds to panic. Take 5 seconds to be excited. Look, every victory is hard won. Every victory is something that we strived, or someone on our team strived to achieve. And if we don't recognize those achievements, we say, well, that's great, but we're trying to get to here. Then we're going to lose track we're going to lose momentum, because those victories build momentum, whether it's on your sales team, whether it's on your operations team, your project team, whatever it is that you're working on. Recognize, hey, we've achieved something. Now, what's important in that is, as you're moving forward and building project plans or building sales plans, is build those milestones, build those leading indicators towards your objectives, and note when you achieve them. Say, hey, we've done this. Great job, team. Let's move on to the next step. I really appreciate all your effort. Before we move on, I want to say how much I appreciate the effort it took. And you did a great job with it. Let's just take a moment and celebrate that success. And when you celebrate those successes, the big projects, the big milestones don't seem as difficult to achieve, because you've taken a moment to celebrate what you've won. And then you can move on and get back in and start climbing up that next mountain towards the next milestone, towards that goal. But when you take the time with your team to celebrate the success that you have, they're going to, one, appreciate the recognition. Two, they'll take a moment to relax and get those endorphins built up and have some excitement to say, hey, if I achieve this, I can achieve that. Once I know I can do this thing, the next thing doesn't seem so difficult. So take moments to celebrate those successes, to keep your mindset positive as we go through another year here, starting in 2022, as we're already a week or two into it. The last one is staying focused. And we've talked a bit in the first one about, that trip. If I'm going from Indianapolis to Florida, never losing faith that I'm going to get there no matter what the hiccups are. If I'm working on a project and I get distracted, one of the principles in meditation is this idea of beginning again. And it took me a long time to realize the value of this when I was building my own meditation work. But a core principle, at least through the learnings that I had from it, is this idea that when you get knocked off, so it's really hard to stay focused in meditation. Still hard for me, because my mind goes a mile a minute. There's distractions coming in. It's what our mind does. It wants input. So things come in, we lose track. It happens a lot. And you can have a tendency to beat yourself up for it. Oh man, I can't believe I lost focus on this. I was actually talking to somebody who's they don't like to speak in meetings because they make a mistake, and then they're in this mental battlefield of beating themselves up about it, instead of focusing on the principle of made a mistake, center, begin again. That's how we need to look at those roadblocks that hit us as we're moving forward. We're not going to hit every deadline. We're going to strive for it, but we're not going to hit every deadline. Things are going to come in. Distractions are going to occur. But when our mindset is not, oh, I'm a failure, this was a failure, we're doomed, don't go there. Come back to acknowledge and begin again. Yes, we've run into a roadblock. Let's learn from it. But now begin again. Let's start taking the next step forward. Let's move the business forward. That's the concept and the principle of begin again. And when you start applying this to your business and the challenges that you have in your career, the roadblocks aren't going to seem so devastating because we acknowledge it, we hit it. Now let's begin again. Because really, what other choice do we have? We can stop and wallow in self-pity. We can stop and say, well, this is all for naught. Or we can acknowledge, take the hit, and begin again and continue that path forward for our business. So those are really the three principles I want you to think about for your own mindset and your team's mindset going into 2022. One, recognize you can't predict the future, even though you're trying to live in it as a leader. Be flexible when you run into challenges. Two, realize and recognize your achievements. Every milestone needs to be celebrated so everybody realizes we're moving forward. It may not be a company-wide party, but hey, just take a few minutes. Maybe, celebrate with a cup of coffee. Hey, let's celebrate the party. Go out and get shawarma. I'll tie back to the old Avengers movie. Hey, so maybe take that victory lap where you can. And then stay focused, begin again. If you haven't thought about a meditation practice, it's not a bad thing to start. But the principle here is when we run into problems, stop, begin again. Don't let yourself get distracted and send down that rabbit hole. So that's it for this week's Clear Path Leadercast. I would love to talk to you more about this. If you're struggling with any of the things that I talked about today, let's get some time together on the phone. There's been a scroll across the bottom. Let's connect. clearpathcoaches.com/all one word intro call. clearpathcoaches.com/intro call. Let's connect for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, talk about what your goals are, and maybe I can help you get some clarity into that and see what your next steps are. So let's get together on that call, clearpathcoaches.com/intro call. Really excited to talk to you. And again, if you're just catching this on replay, drop me a hashtag replay and we'll go and answer your comments there too. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.